Rockstar really pulled a classic one right here. First, they nerf one of the only actual fun, big aircraft that we've had in years because, God forbid, players actually enjoy using something that isn't a flying missile bike. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse with things that they broke, they somehow also managed to break a core control mechanic that's been working fine for a lot of people for a decade now, especially on the PC platform, but also PlayStation 5, so have a look at that. And if that still wasn't enough for you today, they've still left one of the most blatantly glitched cars in the entire game completely untouched, and this is also a first time ever for them with that. So we've got a lot to talk about today with these three crazy topics, so definitely buckle up. Starting first with the plane topic. Did Rockstar completely ruin aircraft in the game? No, I think players are exaggerating with that claim a little bit, but they did ruin one of the first good big aircraft that we've had in the entire game, and that is with the Titan 250D nerf. Every other big plane that's released in the game has been completely trash, but the Titan 250D had solid armor, it had very usable weapons, and for once it actually also felt pretty fun to fly. It was fast enough, but apparently that's just too much for Rockstar to allow because now they've nerfed it twice, and for no good reason here. Now, I will give them credit with one thing. They did end up fixing the control surface issue before that plane released. Before that happened, one rocket on that plane and your flaps would just completely fall off, the plane would be completely worthless, and then you'd plummet into the earth. Now, at least you could take a hit and stay airborne, which is great, but that's how it should have worked from day one regardless. After that though, we've kind of just gone straight downhill. Rockstar ended up slashing the range on the 25mm as well as 40mm cannons by 40% from 500 meters down to 300. Why? No clue. The 105mm cannon is now the only one that's probably worth using for most people because the others can't really hit anything now unless you're hovering over them. And it's not even about balance with that. Those other guns were already hard to use because of how rendering works in GTA Online, but now they're kind of just paperweights for the plane. And if you thought flying the Titan 250D solo was rough before, good luck now, because this is coming from Gilly Master here. There used to be a trick where if your engines died, because, you know, Rockstar loves that dumb engine failure over time mechanic, you could end up just switching to autopilot and the plane would keep gliding forward at altitude. It was super helpful when trying to get back to base for repairs or just squeeze out one last bombing run, and now that's completely gone because post Money Front's DLC, if your engines die and you go into autopilot, the Titan is just going to nosedive right into the ground. So no more backup plan, no more gliding, you're just done the second those engines give out. And I don't really know the justification for that. I mean, realism? Maybe, but I can also just eat snacks and fully heal up. I can die a trillion times. I can use vehicles to fly along the air. I could backflip on a bike and fly across the map, just abusing the mechanics. All these crazy random things that aren't realistic. So I don't really see that as being the reason, but the autopilot trick for sure was one of the only things that made the Titan actually feel worth using for a lot of players, especially for the solo pilots out there. And now it's gone because Rockstar decided that that was the problem with the game. I don't really understand it. Meanwhile, we still have bulletproof Corvettes that eat rockets for breakfast. That vehicle god mode glitch is still kicking. We are going to talk about that a little bit later, but oppressor rats fly upside down. They're still in every single session, but for some reason Rockstar targeted the Titan with this update. They nerfed a plane that barely anyone used in the first place, while the actual problems that GTA Online has and also the problems that ruin the experience for everyone get completely ignored. And what's even more crazy here is Rockstar could just revert these changes instantly. You know, the cannon ranges are stored in tunables files, so they don't need to push a full title update to fix that. They probably won't fix that. This seems like an intentional change. So obviously you could just see that Rockstar is just finding ways to punish you for trying to enjoy anything that isn't the same recycled stuff that we've seen and have been using since 2018. But next up on our list of painful problems that we're going to have to keep dealing with, and also problems that shouldn't even be happening in GTA Online in 2025, if you play on PC, especially with keyboard and mouse, or even PlayStation 5, then you might have noticed something seriously off lately. And no, you're not just going crazy, Rockstar's actually broken the weapon wheel, and this one is a complete mess in my opinion, because ever since the Money Front's update dropped, the weapon wheel has been acting like it's been duct taped together. It feels clunky, it feels delayed, it feels borderline unusable if you're playing on keyboard and mouse on PC, or even try playing on a PS5 with your controller. It's probably going to feel bad. The second you try opening up and closing the weapon wheel too fast, well, you're going to auto switch to an unarmed weapon slot. Nothing in your hand. Why? I've got no clue. I mean, maybe Rockstar tried to patch the rocket reload spam, you know, when you rapidly swap your weapons to skip the reload, but if that's what they're really going for, they failed, because not only does the rocket spam glitch still work just fine on controller, but they've also basically nerfed the entire actual peripheral that makes a PC player a PC player. And here's the worst part. They've seemed to also added this weird delay where you now have to hold down tab to bring up the weapon wheel longer. I'm not sure why that's even a thing, because if you're mid-fight and you need to swap weapons or bring up the weapon wheel to equip armor and snacks, well, good luck, because you're going to be stuck with your fists out and then also die fumbling the inputs. And funny enough, I personally had this problem using a controller on PC for forever. I don't really know what was causing it, but I know other players experienced it because I've seen people empathize with me in the comments whenever I brought it up, because they said they had the same issue. And then when I would switch to PS5 to get some gameplay content for a weekly update or something, I noticed the problem went away. But now it's flipped. People who weren't encountering the issue have it now, and the people who had it like me maybe still do. And in my anecdotal circumstance, I feel like I'm still glitching out the weapon wheel, but it's happening a lot less. And it's actually crazy how smooth and snappy the game feels for me now on controller in comparison. It's like a night and day difference. And look, if this was to stop some glitch like the reload rocket spam, cool, Rockstar, fix the glitch, but don't punish the rest of the players who use keyboard and mouse with a broken control system. And if that wasn't intentional and it's just a bug, then that's definitely worse, because how has it not been caught and patched already? This obviously needs to be fixed ASAP. They need to get on this. And if Rockstar leaves this untouched until the next major update, then I think PC players on keyboard and mouse are either going to quit or permanently switch to controller, which I don't think many want to do. I think a player who doesn't like controller and plays on keyboard and mouse and mains keyboard, they're not going to switch to controller. They're just going to quit the game. That's how bad it is for them. And like I said, neither of those outcomes should be a thing for players who enjoy this game, and they shouldn't have to deal with it. So let me know in the comments if you noticed that as well for our second story, and let me know also what you're doing in the meantime. And then the last thing I want to talk about briefly, I may make a separate video on this because we kind of brought it up earlier, but I'll talk about it again. Rockstar is busy nerfing the Titan 250D, which nobody asked them to touch, and then they also ruined the weapon wheel, but we still have the bulletproof Coquette D5. This bulletproof version showed up in the last update with Agents of Sabotage, and then of course the Oscar Guzman Flies Again missions when the vehicle released, and it's just makes the car impervious to bullets. All you need to do is just drive around, you're fine. This isn't the first time that we've seen this in the game. You know, the armored Kuruma during the Los Santos Tuners update got bugged out in the same way and became fully bulletproof, but Rockstar fixed that with the next title update. Then we had the Sterling GT back with the Criminal Enterprises update. Same thing, completely glitched armor values, but it was fixed with the following DLC. With the Coquette D5, it's still bugged. It's still bulletproof. It's still impervious to all types of incoming rounds. Of course, like rockets are still going to blow it up. It's not invincible. It's just bulletproof, and Rockstar has left it that way this time. It should have been patched with money fronts, and obviously it's not even hidden because griefers are out here still abusing it in public sessions every single day, and you'd think Rockstar would stay on top of a game-breaking problem like that and would patch that as a priority, but no, in fact they didn't. They left other problems in the game, they introduced new problems, and they also just left the D5 completely untouched. So I think that's really messed up, really crazy, and really bad for the health and longevity of this game. I've been loving the DLC content-wise. I mean, I can nitpick things, of course, and I'll probably go into detail on a later video, but just like content-wise and how it's gonna fit into a player's grind, I'd give the DLC probably an A rating, but all these bugs and glitches, honestly, one with the heat meter bug, which is ruining the actual content of the business and the actual activities you're doing, that would bring it down to a B tier, and then all these other side effects and glitches that have been introduced with this update, breaking all these other facets of the game, that brings it down to a C in my opinion. If Rockstar fixed all this stuff and the game worked as intended and they fixed everything else, I would have said the money fronts update is an A, but now it's probably B tier, and that's just me personally. But if I want to be realistic here with all these other problems that we're talking about here today, maybe that brings it down to a C tier. I don't know, because it just shows that Rockstar is lazy and they're not fixing stuff. So I think that's pretty messed up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about all this. Are you experiencing the Titan 250D problem when you try and pilot that aircraft? Are you experiencing the weapon wheel bug? Are you still using the Coquette D5? I mean, that's a good PvE grinding tool, but for players who main public sessions, which is not me, by the way, all I do is sit in invite-only sessions, I'm of the opinion that the more people in a public session, the worse and the less fun that GTA Online becomes, because on PC, you lose FPS, you drop in performance, the lobby gets laggier, especially with the new BattleEye anti-cheat system now that already nuked players' FPS in public sessions anyway, so now it's even worse, and so I stick to an invite-only session, I stay monitor capped at 144 FPS, and I just enjoy the game game for what it is. When I have to deal with other players in my lobby, it just makes the game unfun. I'd rather go play Warzone or Battlefield or Halo or anything else at that point. I don't want a PvP in this like awfully unbalanced sandbox game, so I stick to invite-only sessions. But if you're in a public session, well, then the Coquette D5 is actually like an awful reality that you have to deal with. So let me know if you're still dealing with that, but hopefully you all enjoyed the video here today, and if you did, hopefully I earned your like on it. And of course, if you are new to my channel and you want to stay up to date with all the best GTA Online and Rockstar Games content, then please consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on a single thing we post here on the channel. We consistently talk about updates, news, information, tips, tricks, and even leaks, and I will keep you guys updated here on the channel daily, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to follow me over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, then those are the best places to get connected with me outside of YouTube, and you are more than welcome to ask me questions on those platforms. You can follow me at HazardousHDTV, and all of my social media links can be found in the description down below. That being said, again, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys in the next GTA 5 Online Money Fronts DLC video. Adios, amigos.